I started to say, and Stu said this morning, he's never heard me, kind of go out on a limb before and really kind of endorse somebody like this before. And it's because that I've spent some time, I know how much money we have spent on just trying to make sure that this story is right. And the last piece was I needed to look the man in the eye and see, is he telling the truth? Is there something wrong here? Is something wrong? No, there's not. There's not. I'll tell you what they will insinuate. And Lou, correct me if I'm wrong. What they will insinuate is that maybe you were a hothead from time to time. Am I right on that?
They could.
Okay. Let me ask the audience. Would you be a hothead if somebody did this to your daughter? I sat with you yesterday, and we went into a commercial break, and I said to you, I don't know how you're this calm. I really don't know how you're this calm.
I'd be out of my mind.
Yeah. Well,
out of my mind.
He responded with something along the lines of, gotta be. So I just I want you to know, if you're driving in your car or you're listening, it seems unreasonable. And we all want to believe this is America and this can't happen. I am telling you now, with everything in me, I believe him. Our research department, you've subscribed to the Blaze so we have the money to do and check the facts. You know me. I check the facts. I have now met with him. I have met his daughter. And I am telling you, this story, as unbelievable as it sounds, is true. So, Lou, answer the question, and you did on last night, but I want you to answer for this audience. Why would they do this? Why would they do this?
I believe they dug themselves a hole from day one. When they went and decided what Justina Pelletier has is somatoform, something in their head, they were all in. And if you do a little research on Boston Children's Hospital and you plug in the word somatoform, you'll be amazed at the number of doctors or psychologists that is their specialty, from the director of psychiatry on down. So what is their agenda? Only God knows. But they need lab rats for their experiments.
How can people help? I mean, would it help you to get a pit bull attorney if somebody, maybe volunteered for you? Does it help? I mean, I know we've contacted Rand Paul. Would it help to contact Mike Lee? Would more U.S. senators be
what do you
helpful?
need?
What do you need here?
What do you need?
How can people help?
The court of law, especially at the juvenile level, is what it is in the state of Massachusetts. And I won't need to say any more about that. Harvard is the big sheriff in town, largest employer, so I think they're given a lot of deference. Remember, Massachusetts DCF years ago was given the money to hire a medical director. They refused to, saying basically, we don't need to. We've got Boston Children's to be our medical people.
So the police are the perpetrators.
They are the ones that execute the will of Boston Children's / Harvard.
You said last night, and one of my producers said, we got in the elevator. I said, what did you think of that? And she said, he brought up, the Nazis a couple of times. And I said, uh-huh. And she said, I don't know. That bothered me because she's Jewish, because it's such a harsh thing to say. And I said, let me ask you a question. If somebody came into your family and did this to your daughter or son, how else would you describe what they're doing? I mean, you're not throwing the Gestapo around lightly, are you?
Just look at the people, be it the doctors, be it the psychologists, be it the nurses, who are all fully aware of the wrong that is being done to Justina and who are looking the other way. And now we go back to the Nazi comparison. Look at these Nazi guards from the concentration camps that are 98 years old, yet they're still being prosecuted because they were a witness to something that happened in the 1940s. Well, there are people right now, and they all know who they are, who've watched my daughter be tortured physically and mentally for a year and have done Nothing.
Lou, can I ask a couple of detailed questions here? And you probably have already answered these, but they keep popping into my mind. First of all, after we've been covering this for 6 months, ABC News ran an extensive piece on this earlier this week, which was largely backed up your position here, by the way, we should point out. One of the things, though, looking for the side of Boston Children's Hospital, they just keep citing these privacy concerns. We can't tell you what our argument is here because this is a patient in an ongoing...
Which makes it so impossible to fight against them.
Right. So is there anything you can do to free them from those concerns so that they can make their case and you can pick it apart? Because right now they have this there's nothing you can do to their position because they won't tell you what it is.
Can you sign away? Can you say, forget HIPAA? Can you sign away? So you don't have to keep anything confidential. Everything's open.
That would be the perfect world.
Can you do that legally?
No.
Why?
Just the restraints of the trade. So they know if you're guilty, why would you want to make people aware of the guilt and of the crimes you are doing? So they can hide behind all these amendments. Meantime, they've broken more amendments. Just look again on day 3, February 13th, the guidelines of care for Justina Pelletier. How many amendments were broken that day? And you don't have to be a constitutional lawyer or president to know the violations that were committed before DCF was brought into the picture. That day alone should have been game, set, and match. Let's release her. This is crazy. We don't have that type of power.
What do you think the game is now? They're releasing her to this kind of halfway house, but at the same time, because I looked at that as like a good thing. I was like, okay, maybe they're starting to, but no, because they also then they cut your time with her in half. So they're going the other direction.
And she's not getting what we call the activities of daily living treatments. I mentioned it yesterday. The first time we saw her after she was brought to Wayside, it was 18 degrees out. We met her outside the DCF facility in Framingham. It was 18 degrees. Her hair was soaking wet. She was shaking, scared. The next 2 weeks, either her hair was greasy as anything, along with the gum lines, along with you name it. Remember, she's in a wheelchair. No strength below the hips, minimal strength above the hips. And at Wayside, she's getting no to minimal assistance. They're not medical. They don't want to deal with this. And then my wife actually filed a complaint on this same 51A against Wayside. Guess what? The next visit, her hair was blow-dried. It was like, wow. Of course, she told us under her breath, the nurses there were not happy campers to do that. And now, though, she's been there way beyond their expectant time frame. So now they want to move her, guess what? To a farm. They want to move her to a place called the Shared Living Collaborative.
Dear God, that sounds spooky.
Which is on the New Hampshire border of Massachusetts. Totally run by Mass DCF. Does that sound like a warm, cuddly place to help my daughter recover? No.
Lou, have you been, you mentioned DCF, and it's the only time you can ever see your daughter. Have you been accused of a crime?
That's been my wife's favorite line. What did we do? What crime did we commit? The only thing we've been accused of is that we risked Justina's safety in the very beginning because we didn't drink the Kool-Aid to say that Justina has somatoform. That's it.
You had the Connecticut Department of Children and Families. How many times have they been to your house?
A few times.
Why is your other daughter living with you if you're so bad?
And 2 others and a 93-year-old mother-in-law. Yet Mass DCF has never made a visit to our home.
And by the way, doesn't your other daughter have the same thing Justina does?
She has been medically proven to have mitochondrial disease.
Is this something that is hereditary?
It's hereditary. It runs in the genes. So
why hasn't anybody making the case to take your other daughter? If you're so horrible.
If this is Munchausen by proxy.
And if this isn't something that really exists, why haven't they made the case to take your other daughter?
Yeah.
Well, she was medically proven, whereas Justina...
Oh, okay. So in other words, Tufts went in and performed unwanted surgery. Boy, I'm starting to believe that maybe President Obama was right. So Tufts went in and they performed surgery on your daughter without knowing what was going on. They just went in and cut her colon without knowing any of this stuff.
it.
This doesn't make any sense. Again, that's why whoever you tell about this story will say, something's wrong. Something has to be. Yes, it is fear. It is greed. We're going to be the leaders on this particular kind of diagnosis. We are going to show the world that this diagnosis, this somatoform, is real. And we're going to develop all the best treatments, and we're going to develop the best drugs and everything else. This is my opinion on what's coming and what they're doing. And they have boxed themselves in a corner. And so they can't admit that this was wrong. And quite honestly, Lou, I think that what they're hoping is that nobody hopes for this to happen. And I don't think the doctors are, thinking this way. But if the problem just goes away, whether it be to a farm where nobody thinks about it anymore, or God forbid she just wastes away and dies, then we're past this and we don't ever have to admit anything. And I think that's what's happening. And that can't happen. I know you have a good attorney. But if there is a great attorney out there, if you are a firm and you are a great attorney and you're like, I will live to free Justina and I will live to make sure that this whole thing comes raining down on these guys, please go to freejustina.com. If you are a politician, if you are, I don't care what you are. If you're somebody that works in the internet and you're like, I can help make things go viral, please. You can take all of the stuff from my website, all of the interviews, everything. You don't have to put my name on it. I don't care about any of it. You can go to Free Justina and volunteer. You just do it. Just do it. If you have $5 to your name and you believe you can help this family out because they are broke now, there is enough pressure on this family. Can we help this family relieve the financial pressure that they're already under? I didn't know that you also had your 91-year-old mother-in-law living with
93.
93-year-old mother-in-law living with you.
I'm living the dream.
Anything that you can do to help, please go to freejustina.com, freejustina.com, and follow this story and spread this story at theblaze.com.
Well, can I ask Lou one more question before we go? So, Lou, your daughter's not 5 years old. She should have some voice in this. And I assume, obviously, you've talked to her. Do you have anything, is there a recent on-record sort of statement that she says she's still with you guys in this case? Does she have any voice in this at all?
Again, her rights have been totally taken away. She has no voice, never able to speak up. And she has spoken twice in the court proceedings, which that's all I can get into, and it should have been a home run. She told the world what her situation was, but she's still there.
It's just, wow.
And
it's incomprehensible.
Remember, though, there are politicians, the governors, attorney generals, DCF commissioners that have the executive power to stop this.
Okay. Lou, thank you very much.
Glenn, Stu, thank you so much. God bless you.
It is freejustina.com.